Welcome everyone to the Inland Sports Show. Before we start the show, make sure you like this video and you've subscribed to the Inland Sports Show YouTube channel. And if you're a local business or organization and you'd like to promote yourself on this show, just send us an email, inlandsportsshow@gmail.com. The show starts right now. Garcia's left footed. And what is up, everybody? Welcome to your favorite show, the Inland Sports Show, live and amplified at Teen Vision TV 16. I am your host, Pep Fernandez. We appreciate you tuning in. It's postseason time. A little bit later in the show, listen, we got Norco softball, the #1 team in Division I. We got Murrieta Mesa softball, also one of the top-ranked teams in Division I. We're also going to talk baseball with Summit skipper Sammy Lopez. Just got career win number 200. And the Skyhawks are playing Redlands East Valley in the first round later this week. So it is championship time. It's postseason time here on the Inland Sports Show. And, well, the boys' tennis brackets are out. We're going to check in with the Riverside Poly Bears. And that's where we lead off this episode right now. Let's go with head coach Nick Meteljan, a couple of his star Bears as well. And congrats, guys, on a Ivy League championship. And, Coach, I'm going to start with you. We got Connor Julian and Dalton Adcock as well in just a moment. But, Coach Meteljan, congrats on a league title. And I know those are great, and you hang league banners up in the gym and stuff. But for you guys, do you feel like, man, you know, what's the end of the season going to look like? Can we string together a couple wins, beginning with Etowanda, and maybe have a CIF banner at the end of all this? How's the season been for you, Coach?
It's been another fantastic season. Just thanks for having me on. I saw in your pregame that there was not a lot of tennis shots on there, so bringing the tennis, playoffs and a tennis coach on with my players, we really appreciate it. We had a fantastic season. We ended up undefeated in league, and that's what the season's getting ready for. You have your non-league matches to prepare for the league, and then your league matches, and then you hopefully make it to the playoffs, and then try to do the best you can and see what kind of run you can make.
So, Coach, again, I'm not a tennis expert, but how would you compare the caliber of level in the Ivy League for boys tennis to what you might see in Division III for the postseason?
Well, it basically comes down to how many players you have that play tournaments throughout the year. And they have a rating system, what's called in tennis is a UTR rating system. And, for our team, we don't have a lot of high UTR players. But if you run into a team that does have a lot of high UTR players, those teams are going to be difficult to beat because that system's very strong in showing what level everyone's at. If you look in the playoff draws in Division I, a lot of those teams are going to have multiple high UTR players on them. And then as you go down each division, you have fewer and fewer. And so, again, it's just based on what kind of draw you get and what you run into.
Well, Coach, let me check in with some of your guys as well. I'll start with Dalton Adcock because he's a 4-year varsity guy for you with the Riverside Poly Bears, team captain. And Dalton, when you look at this season, how much fun has it been? And, of course, winning is fun, and the Ivy League championship is great. But, what was, how much fun are you having? But what were your goals going into the season for this Riverside Poly team?
Yeah, it's been an amazing season. I really enjoy the team this year. We have a very well-rounded team. We have some higher peaks in varsity, but I actually think our team goes deeper this year than it has in years past. So I really enjoyed that, and I think of course, the goal is to win league, but I'd say maybe making it past semis this year in CIF would be a good mark for us.
Dalton, what are practices like? Because when you practice against great competition, against some of your own guys, of course, how has that prepared you to see some, really good teams in the playoffs?
Yeah, practice is great. I feel like the thing that helps me the most is practice matches against my teammates, especially against some of the higher ranked players on our team. Match experience is definitely very key to playing tennis because a lot of it's very mental, and getting that one-on-one experience is perfect for especially postseason pressure.
All right, Dalton, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, does your dad give you any advice? I know he's a baseball guy and this is tennis and that's totally different, but just in terms of you competing, like you said, a lot of this can be mental about just competing and having the right mindset maybe going into a big match.
He does. He gives me plenty of advice on strategy, especially the mental side of things. And believe it or not, he actually plays tennis sometimes. We used to play matches when I was younger, and he was actually not bad. He had a decent slice.
Not bad, but you're better, right?
Yeah.
Of course, right?
You know, he can throw the ball faster than me, but I can hit a serve faster. So it trades off.
Good answer. I like that. Connor Julian, just a sophomore down there. He's rocking the Riverside Poly orange. Almost like, I don't know, do you have like orange lighting on purpose, or is it just the time of day we're doing this interview, Connor?
No, I had to set it up how I needed it. I put on the orange just for this interview. I had to rep all Poly. Oh, I should have made it green. Then it'd be green and orange. But it's all good. It's all good.
Well, Connor, you are looking good and playing well as well. I know you're dominating in the world of doubles. How is singles and doubles different in terms of the way you approach it? Obviously, your doubles partner, you guys got to be able to click. But how are the two games different?
They are very different games, I have to say. So as a doubles player, I have played both. When I was younger, I used to play a lot of more singles. But as doubles, I think one thing that's very much more important is communication. Because in singles, it's all in your head, and you have to make split decisions on your own, and there's no one but yourself. But in doubles, especially if you have a great teammate, which I do, his name's Matthew Grigsby, he's a freshman. If you have a great teammate, you can communicate well, then you can anticipate moves. And rather than like after you play for a while, I think it gets like second nature. Because once you develop that good relationship, then you can start making better and better plays, which will definitely benefit you a long way.
Connor, how did you get your start in tennis? I'm just curious because a lot of, maybe you grew up in a country club, or you got a parent, who played tennis growing up, or maybe you just saw it on TV and you thought, Roger Federer was cool. Like, how did you get first introduced to the sport?
I'll be completely honest. I have a twin brother. He's also on the team, and he played tennis a year before me. And back when he started playing tennis, I was playing golf, and I knew nothing about it. So once he started playing, I saw him and I was like, he sucks and I could be better. So
I hope he's watching this.
Playing. Yeah. So just, I have a competitive nature, you know what I'm saying? So I joined the sport, and I think it made it a lot easier because now we're both in tennis. We're both on the same team. It made it easier for my parents. And it's also fun because his name's Isaac. Isaac and I play doubles sometimes, and I think it's really fun.
Well, okay, that begs the question. Before I go back to Coach Mateljan, twins are supposed to have that extra connection, right? You can think what they're thinking before they even think it. But he's not your doubles partner.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. He has a good doubles partner too. Even if we were to play good doubles, we're not like, we don't fight with each other. We don't yell at each other. Stereotypical brothers, they do all that. But we're not like that. But that's a message to my coach. If you can, you feel what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm definitely open to play with my brother. He's a great guy, a great player. And yeah.
You guys are hilarious. Let me go back to Coach on this one. Coach, this time of the year, as you go into the playoffs, how much coaching is taking place right now, and how much is just, hey, let's take the training wheels off. You guys know what to do. It's this late in the season, especially like for Dalton, who's been around the block. He's a senior, 4-year guy. Hey, guys, you know what? Let's just get the mind right. Let's get dialed in and focus, and let's see what happens.
Well, that's exactly it. When you get to this point, hopefully they've learned a lot. You've been training them all season long, like in Dalton's case for 4 years. Everything's going to get amped up for the playoffs. Everyone's going to be a little bit, nervous and pumped up. And I just try to make it as simple as possible. I just say, keep the game simple, take it 1 point at a time. I know it's cliche-ish, but things can start happening really quickly. And we have a younger team, and that once you get out there and they don't know what to expect, I rely on players like Dalton to, hey, just bring them back down, and hey, we know we're good, and we just got to go out there and play the best we can and see what happens.
All right, let's wrap it up like this, guys. I'm going to ask Dalton and Connor the same thing. Dalton, I'll start with you as the senior. Finish this sentence. The key to victory for Riverside Poly is blank. And not just against Etiwanda. Let's even think, the second round, semifinals, who knows? The key to victory for Riverside Poly is?
I would definitely say consistency. Because we have a lot of nervous freshmen and we have a lot of upperclassmen who just want to win this. They're almost too excited to win, if that makes sense. We're going for too many shots. We're getting maybe a little nervous because we are excited it's our last year. And I think, if we could just pull the reins back a little bit and tap into that consistency, we can take this far.
Nice. Good work, Dalton. How about you, Connor?
I don't want to steal his answer. That's a really good answer.
Yeah,
but,
it was.
Yeah, I'll say perseverance. Because a lot of the team, as Dalton said, they're gung ho, they're ready. This is the playoffs. It's a huge deal, but persevering, taking each point at a time, because it's not over till the point's over, and not getting ahead of yourself. Honestly, it's all like I said, it all comes down to each point, and keeping your head in the moment will get you through the match. And I think if we do that, then it'll work good for us.
Listen, you guys are awesome. I really appreciate this. Coach, you're right. We don't do enough tennis on this show, but when you got a great team like Riverside Poly, we got to give you guys a little bit of love going into that big match against Etiwanda. So, Coach, I really appreciate the time.
Well, I appreciate you guys having us on, and, good luck to all our Inland Empire teams heading to the playoffs.
You said it best, and it starts with the Bears. D3 Etiwanda on Wednesday. Win and advance. Coach Meteljan, Dalton Adcock, and Connor Julian here on the Inland Sports Show. Thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, too. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's Riverside Poly boys tennis here on the Inland Sports Show. We'll go into our first commercial break of the night. When we come back, Murrieta Mesa softball live here on the Inland Sports Show.
And this segment of the Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Kin Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and letterman's jackets. Boost Performance Training in Corona. Athletes of all levels and all sports train at Boost. And also ask about the Bass Private School. And Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist you can trust.
What up, y'all? It's your boy Boostman here with a quick 2 cent. Student athletes, here are 3 things you need to focus on this off-season in order. #1, rest. Not just for your body, but also for your mental well-being. It's important that you take a few weeks to veg out, step away from the game, and get healthy. #2, get stronger or get strong again. This is the time of year to build yourself back up after competition. And it's really important because being a strong athlete is being a healthy athlete. #3, work on your weaknesses. Whether it's weight management, strength, speed, or sport-specific skills, it's really important that you spend some time in these areas before preseason hits. More importantly, what you shouldn't spend all your time doing this off-season is playing more of your sport. Boostman.
The In-N-Out Burger Cover-to-Cover Reading Club is available at the San Bernardino Public Library. In-N-Out has sponsored this program for children ages 4 to 12. To participate, children must read 5 books, bring in their reading log, their book receipt, and then they can receive a prize for a free hamburger or cheeseburger from In-N-Out. Each child can do this up to 3 times. This program will run from March 4th through April 15th, and only books checked out from the San Bernardino Public Library and read during this time period can count toward the program. For more information, please contact the library at 909-381-8201. Thank you.
The Inland Sports Show is proud to partner with Dr. Marcus Paulson and Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Dr. Paulson and his team work with children, teens, and adults using orthodontic products like traditional braces and Invisalign to make a difference in the appearance, comfort, and function of each patient's teeth. Paulson Orthodontics welcomes new patients, so schedule a visit today. Paulson Orthodontics. We make braces fun.
And welcome back to the Inland Sports Show, everybody. A big thanks to the Riverside Poly boys tennis team getting ready for that big match against Etiwanda. Now we're talking softball. The brackets are out. Man, we have got some great matchups. In fact, we got some wild card games that are absolutely insane. But one team that's got a first round bye, they're moving on to Thursday to the official first round. We're talking Murrieta Mesa. Let's go live with the Rams softball team. Coach Romero and the whole gang standing by to talk some Murrieta Mesa softball here. And Coach Romero, first off, congrats on not one, not 2, but 3 Southwestern League titles in a row. You went undefeated, the outright league championship this year. So, Coach Romero, what does that mean to the program to win outright and go unbeaten in Southwestern League play?
It's a big accomplishment, man, because, there's some good teams in our league, some really good pitching that we see. We've got a lot of D1 pitchers that are going to the next level, and it's good to just, beat those guys and compete against them day in and day out. But, yeah, it was an awesome run. Like I said, we're just blessed to be in a good situation and playing some good softball.
Coach Romero, throughout the entire season, you guys have been one of the top-ranked teams in Division I in those weekly CIF Southern Section polls. I'm sure, obviously, you just want to play who's in front of you, and you try not to look too far ahead, but you know who else is out there in Division I. Did you keep an eye on the rankings or maybe what those other teams are doing throughout the regular season?
Not really, man. I've always said this, man. The only ranking that matters is the one at the end of the season. So when you finish first at the end of the season, that's pretty much the only ranking that matters. They're good to be noticed. You put us on the map as a ranked team, but at the end of the day, we just play our game. And if we're there at the end of the season, that's where we want to be, number 1 at the end of the season.
Well, Coach, I want to give all the players a little bit of love, so why don't you just introduce real quick, even if it's first names or or position or whatever, but can you go around his name? Who's there? Who are we looking at right now?
This is our stud sophomore center fielder, Taylin Holly. Back here, our pitcher, Kaylee Raines Campbell. You interviewed her last year.
Yes.
That's her. Young freshman pitcher, Lily Hauser. Stud second baseman, Kinsey. We got a new transfer that came in this year from Chino Hills. This is Maddie Lardzibal. She has a long last name. I hope I didn't mess it up. And we got our catcher, Jazzy Burns. You interviewed her last year. Stud catcher, third baseman, Paige Van Barger. Van Barger. Victoria Prado, left fielder. And you got MJ last year. You interviewed her too. We put her on at the end. But yeah, utility player, stud. We got Lila Perez. Lila Perez. Hey, my little niece's name is Lila. I always mix them up. First base, utility player. Where else is we got Danica and Dakota Hobbs, the twins back here. Hi. We got our other catcher, Angelina A-Rod Rodriguez. We got another utility player, Harley DeMary. And we got another senior here, Jasmine Torres. And we got Casey Johnson, one of our other seniors who's sitting over here in the corner all quiet. We're missing a few. We could brought 20 deep.
Oh, my gosh. So, girls, this is a question for all of you. Are you going to win on Thursday?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, you know what? I got to ask Jazzy right here in the middle. Coach sent me Jazzy Burns' stats, and they're just insane, the power numbers that you're putting up. You hold the school record in home runs and RBI. In fact, I think it was, 32 career home runs, 105 RBI. Jazzy, you play on a great team. You're providing a lot of offense for this team. But I feel like you're protected by a great lineup, right? You got some good, hitters around you in that Murrieta Mesa order.
Yes, absolutely. I think it feels great knowing that if I don't always get a hit, I got somebody good in front of me and somebody good behind me always. And I obviously could not ever have these stats without my whole team. So they mean a lot.
Jazzy, how excited are you about this playoff run? Because you know how much talent you guys have on this team, and you've been getting it done all season long. Do you feel like this could be a special season, a special team for the Rams?
Absolutely. I think if we're firing on all cylinders, that everything will come out the way it should.
Well, Coach Romero, let me go back to you. I think you're also AKA the cameraman on this, but But Coach, you've been around softball for a long time. I mean, how does this squad stack up to maybe some other teams that you've coached or seen before? Because I feel like this is a special group.
Oh yeah, hands down, this is the best team that Mesa's ever put, on the field. Just the talent around us, just all these, commits that we have and everything talent-wise. Yes, definitely the best team that I've coached here at Murrieta Mesa, for sure.
Coach, softball is such a funny game, especially in the playoffs. I mean, it might be a pitcher's duel and one miscue by the other team and you win 1-0. What do you think is going to be key to victory for Murrieta Mesa throughout the playoffs? What do you think you guys have to do well to make a playoff run?
We got to score runs for sure to win. You got to score to win. And our pitching is going to hold up, against the best. We've proven that all season. But yeah, we hit the ball. Our defense is solid. Like Jazzy said, we're clicking on all cylinders. We're going to be tough to beat for sure.
That was my next question was, do you feel like, hey, this is a team that's going to win some games like 8-7, or are you going to win some games like 2-1? Because I feel like in the playoffs, whether it's softball or football or whatever the sport, defense kind of brings championships, right? Especially pitching and defense.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it's softball though, man. Whatever team shows up and wants to win is going to win, especially in Division I. There is no easy game. Everybody's loaded pretty much. I mean, you saw the brackets go out in some of those wild card games. I mean, you got like Poly and some of those teams that are like, 122-1 and they're in a wild card, won their league. So it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy. But like I told these girls, honestly, the way I feel is the only team that can beat us is ourselves. Okay, if we're clicking on our cylinders, nobody's going to beat us, for sure. We hit, we play defense, and our pitching, it's going to hold up.
All right, Coach, let me ask you this, and if I'm exaggerating, you can call me out on it, but the CIF Southern Section Division I playoffs for softball has got to be the toughest playoff bracket in the entire state and probably the entire country as well. If you come out on top in Division I in the Southern Section, there's probably nobody better than you.
I agree with that, man. I mean, this is where it's at. The Southern Section, I think we're the best, softball conference in the country, for sure. Hands down. I mean, there's a lot of good softball out there, but, there's so much good softball all around this Inland Empire, man. It's crazy.
And, Coach, finally, when you look at the regular season so far, we talked about what you think it'll take to win in the playoffs, but what have you guys done well in the regular season that you'd like to see continued in the playoffs?
Just winning the tough games. Like, when we face some tough pitching, Great Oak had a tough pitcher, Vista had a tough pitcher, and we always come out on top. We find a way to score a run. Our pitching, our defense holds it down. So we know how to win those games, those close games, and we know how to, hit the ball and blow people out too. So, I mean, we know how to win both ways. So we're tested either way, wherever it goes, we're ready.
Well, Coach, listen, I really appreciate the time. It's been fun, following you guys from a distance here in this great season for Murrieta Mesa. And hopefully you still got several more games in front of you this playoff run.
That's the plan, man. That's the plan.
Coach Romero, you're the best. Best of luck, ladies. Beginning on Thursday, you'll find out who you're going to play in that wild card game coming up. But that's Murrieta Mesa softball. And you might want to stick around real quick because here comes our Big Boost play of the week involving Murrieta Mesa softball. Congrats, ladies, on the regular season. Best of luck in the playoffs.
Thanks, Pat.
All right, that's Murrieta Mesa softball here on the Inland Sports Show. And let's check out our Big Boost play of the week because she's setting records right and left. We just talked to her a moment ago. It's this big-time home run against Vista Murrieta last week. Dead center field, up and gone against the Broncos. That was an 8-2 victory for Murrieta Mesa. As we mentioned before, they went unbeaten in league play, and Jazzy Burns now has the career home run and RBI record for Murrieta Mesa, putting a lot of pop in that lineup, and that's our Big Boost play of the week for your league champion Murrieta Mesa softball team. All right, when we come back here on the Inland Sports Show, we got more high school softball and high school baseball. We'll be right back on your favorite show, the Inland Sports Show.
Hey guys, this is Jason at Ken Sporting Goods. We're almost to 1,000 Instagram followers. Tell your friends, like us, come down, see us. Thank you so much for your loyalty.
What up, y'all? It's your boy Boostman here with a quick 2 cent. Student athletes, understand that while times may change, the rules for success never do. Focusing on always putting forth your best effort, always having a great attitude, and establishing good relationships with your peers, teachers, coaches, and within your community will always be the best recipe for future success. And despite of what anyone might say, through your choices and actions, only you hold the keys to your future. Boostman.
And this segment of the Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Ken Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and Letterman's jackets. Boost Performance Training in Corona. Athletes of all levels and all sports train at Boost. And also ask about the Bass Private School. And Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist you can trust.
The In-N-Out Burger Cover-to-Cover Reading Club is available at the San Bernardino Public Library. In-N-Out has sponsored this program for children ages 4 to 12. To participate, children must read 5 books, bring in their reading log, their book receipt, and then they can receive a prize for a free hamburger or cheeseburger from In-N-Out. Each child can do this up to 3 times. This program will run from March 4th through April 15th, and only books checked out from the San Bernardino Public Library and read during this time period can count toward the program. For more information, please contact the library at 909-381-8201. Thank you.
Inland Sports. They went out and drafted Centennial High School product Tanner McKee out of Centennial, out of Stanford in the 6th round. I'm not saying Tanner McKee's going to, take the starting job from Jalen Hurts. That's not going to happen because Jalen just got a lot of money. But Tanner McKee's going to go in there and hopefully, like Stetson Bennett, will be the backup, and maybe he'll impress another NFL team and they'll bring him in to be the starter somewhere. You're right. He was cooking, man. He was cooking on Sunday. They couldn't stop him. In fact, I was at an event last night and, we were talking about the game, and I'm like, how do you let the greatest shooter in NBA history, how do you lose track of him on the floor? He went for 50. Double team him. Make Draymond Green make a shot or something. But it probably wouldn't matter. Steph Curry would get those shots up anyways. Inland Sports.
Yeah, still heartbroken about my Sacramento Kings, talking about them on KCAL 96.7 FM. But I got a big smile on my face, feeling really good as we talk more Division I softball. We got the head coach for the Norco softball team, Rick Robinson. And Coach Robinson, the #1 seed going into the playoffs. I feel like all is right in the world with Norco back on top in softball. When you go into the playoffs as the #1 seed, you guys have been there before, but is it more pressure? Is it bigger expectations? Did you expect to be in this spot? How would you kind of look at the regular season going into the playoffs now?
I wasn't sure. I didn't really know how it would play out. But I wasn't, at the end, I wasn't surprised when we were #2, sandwiched between LoSal at 3 and Huntington at 1, and then when LoSal beat Huntington. I didn't know, and we had beaten Huntington, or we had beaten Los Alamitos twice and Orange Lutheran once. So if those are the 2 and 3, it kind of made sense. But in the way they do it, where it's the number of home games, I don't know if we'll be #1 is always an advantage or not.
Yeah, the old coin toss, right? After you get that first round home game, and who knows what's going to happen, beyond that.
I mean, there's been years that we started off at home for the first game and never got home again.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, in years past, these Norco championship teams, do you remember, like you just said, did you guys have to go on the road consecutive weeks or games and win those games? Or did you have like somehow the stars and moon aligned and you were at home for a couple of those?
You're always we're home for a couple, but I think we had to, I know of 3 times in that run of 4 trips to the finals, we had to go win the semis on the road. So, and that's always, in my opinion, the toughest one to win because you're that close.
And the championship's a neutral site game, right? I mean, so you get there and, the place is packed.
It's no longer a neutral site game.
Oh, the home team can host the championship?
The semifinal is no longer a neutral site game.
No, I'm saying about the championship game. Like the semifinal is big because you could be home or away, but once you get to the finals, it's neutral. It's up in the air. It's 50-50. You're both going to have a lot of people there. It'll be packed in Irvine, and it feels like a big time championship game.
Right, and you're playing on the last day of the season. It's the semi. There's still, when you get knocked out of that one, it's always that something not, you haven't finished the season. Yeah,
you want to be the last team standing. You want to be playing that final game, like on Saturday night, like literally the final game of the Southern Section season. Coach, just in general, when you saw the Division I bracket come out, not a huge surprise. You guys were at the top of the bracket, #1. You get a first-round bye. You'll play Thursday. But when you saw some of those first-round matchups, including the wild card games, man, Coach, there are so many good teams in Division I.
Well, Division I right now is if you have a bad day, you are done for the year.
Yep.
And that's going to be with any team in the bracket. So, you better be hitting on all cylinders when you step on the field the first day. And I mean, I look at some of just the wild card games and I almost want to not go scout ours and go watch some of them. Just being a fan.
Yeah, that's some good softball taking place in the wild card game. They feel more like, I don't know, quarterfinals, maybe even semifinal matchups, some of these games that are going to be taking place on Tuesday and going into that first round coming up on Thursday. Coach, if you were going to characterize the way your team has been able to win games this season, there's a couple games where you scored a lot of runs. I'm thinking off the top of my head that Roosevelt game, that final game against them. But has it been pitching in the circle? Has it been the bats? I mean, how would you kind of characterize the way this Norco team has won this season?
We've won as a team because there's been days we've pitched really well and didn't hit the ball too much. And we've won that 1-0 or, 2-1 game, but there's also been games where we score a lot of runs. It's a roller coaster ride. We have good offensive days and, some slow offensive days, some good pitching days. We've used 3 different pitchers in multiple games. So it's by committee. And I think the biggest thing is sometimes our production is from the bottom of the lineup. It's not the same 1 or 2 players doing it every game in and out. So it's definitely been a team effort as much as any year we've ever had.
And what do you think that means when you have people, some players maybe at the bottom of the order that are contributing? So that kind of alleviates some of the pressure maybe, right, off the leadoff hitter or the 3, 4, 5 hitters. Like if hey, our 7, 8, 9 could be a 3, 4, 5 on any other team. Like these players can contribute like that.
Right. I mean, that's always important because not only does it turn the lineup over, but it gets runners in scoring position for the top of the lineup.
Yeah.
Our last game of the season, our number 8 hitter hit 2 home runs, a double, and then a bunt single. So, when you can do it from all different directions, that puts so much pressure on a team.
Coach, going into a big game, do you ever have a feeling like, hey, we've been hitting the ball really hard, I have a feeling we're going to score a lot of runs today, or maybe vice versa. Maybe you're like, man, our pitchers have been really dialed in. This is going to be a low-scoring 1-0 or 2-1 game. You've been around softball for a long time. Do you ever get a feeling going into a big game the way it might kind of pan out?
Well, you think so. You think, okay, right now going into this week, we're hitting the ball really well. But then that usually means it's going to be a tight 1-run game because every game is going to be a little different. And this is a team we haven't even seen this year that we're going to play in Gar or Lucerna. So matchups are always the issue. Sometimes you match up. And it also can be, do you have an umpire with a very tight strike zone or a wide strike zone? That can change the dynamic of the game also. Go to an offensive game or a pitcher's duel.
Coach, again, have been around softball for so long, and you've done some, awesome things at Norco. You've got the championships to show for it. Does it ever get old? I mean, does it feel just as fun? Like the first time you made a playoff run and made it to the finals, does it feel just as fun doing it here in 2023?
Yeah, I mean, on the field, it's always just as fun. Every year's new, and that's why you do it. It's to make these runs. I mean, as I tell the team every year, we start working out in August, and all 30 plus games of the season are built for these 5 games. Everything we're doing is for this one tournament. So yeah, I mean, you live for this little run and this moment, and that's what you really try to build in the players also. And I think that's part of the success we've had is that we build everything. Everything we do is to build for that short playoff run.
Mm-hmm. All right, Coach, finally, let's do a little name dropping. I know Maya Perez is hitting bombs, but who are some of the players that have really stood out for you this season to get you to this point?
Well, I mean, Maya Perez is Maya Perez. I mean, she can put a run on the board every time, but we've also had Alyssa Hovermill, who has our top batting average, and she's hit I think it's 10 home runs, and she's driven in 48 runs. Then we have Riley Potter, who had never hit a home run before this year. Our catcher, she has 7 home runs with 30 RBIs. But then also Maddie Severance, who moved into the leadoff spot from the 9 spot, from the 2 spot, and she's hitting almost 500. So she gets things going. So it's a different group, setting things up. But we have 7 seniors, and those 7 seniors have really contributed, 2 in the circle, and then Maya in the circle and offensively, but also all of them with the bats.
Yeah, like you said, this team can score a lot of runs. There's a lot of power up and down that batting order. Coach Robinson, listen, I really appreciate the time. Best of luck on Thursday in the official first round of the Division I playoffs. And again, Norco, the number 1 seed going in. Coach Robinson, thank you so much again. Really appreciate it.
All right, thank you for having me.
You got it. That's Rick Robinson, the head coach of the Norco softball team here on the Inland Sports Show. Thank you so much, Coach. Really appreciate the time. And again, those wild card matchups coming up on Tuesday. If you're watching us live, the wild card matchups just finished as we record the Inland Sports Show a little bit earlier this week. But the official first round of the CIF Southern Section playoffs for softball will be on Thursday. And we got some great wild card games to see who will advance to Thursday. All right, our Ken Sporting Goods must-see game. And again, we're going to throw it out there, although this game will be complete by the time you see the show. Roosevelt and Beaumont. Coach just alluded to some of these big-time wild card matchups. How is this a wild card game? I have no idea, because Roosevelt's the defending D1 champion. Beaumont is one of the top-ranked teams in Division I. yet here they are in a wild card game. So going into the wild card matchups on Tuesday, this was our Kin Sporting Goods must-see game. All right, we come back here on the Inland Sports Show. How about some high school baseball? The Summit Skyhawks will join us live on the show. Their skipper, Sammy Lopez, is next on the Inland Sports Show.
What up, y'all? Boostman here, gonna break you off with a quick 2 cent. With over 10 years in the game developing athletes, I'm gonna share with you guys 3 major keys to developing speed. Number 1, you gotta get stronger. This increases your capacity to produce force. Number 2, you gotta improve your running mechanics. I'm talking about arm action, leg action, and good posture. Number 3, you gotta sprint. High quality sprints that uses acceleration and max speed are vital for sport specificity. There you have it. 3 keys for speed. Now get to it. Your boy, Boostman.
The Inland Sports Show is proud to partner with Dr. Marcus Paulson and Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Dr. Paulson and his team work with children, teens, and adults using orthodontic products like traditional braces and Invisalign to make a difference in the appearance, comfort, and function of each patient's teeth. Paulson Orthodontics welcomes new patients, so schedule a visit today. Paulson Orthodontics. We make braces fun.
The City of San Bernardino has implemented a new low-cost sidewalk vending program in hopes of expanding opportunity for community members to start sidewalk vending safely and lawfully. We want everyone to have access to the economic benefits that sidewalk vending brings, but we want to make sure that our sidewalk vendors know the do's and don'ts when it comes to our city. We must make sure that vendors are keeping our residents safe by following general health and safety standards and by following all city rules. Like, did you know to legally sidewalk vend in the City of San Bernardino, you'll need a seller's permit? What about the $1 million general liability insurance that you are required to have? Don't let this scare you. When all is said and done, the cost of the annual permit will either be $64 or $154. We want to help in every way we can when it comes to vendors lawfully running and growing their small businesses. But those who operate without the proper permits can and will be cited. Citations can run anywhere from 100 to a misdemeanor, and repeated violations can result in the confiscation of items needed to sidewalk vend. We do not want this to be you. So, if you have any questions or concerns regarding the new sidewalk vending program, please call us at 909-384-5035, where staff will help you navigate your way to becoming a safe and permitted vendor in our city.
And welcome back to the Inland Sports Show, everybody. A big thanks again to Rick Robinson, the head coach for the Norco softball team, the #1 team in Division I going into the postseason. So we talk softball. How about we talk some baseball as well? The brackets are out. We got some really juicy first-round games coming up, including Summit taking on Redlands East Valley. Joining us here on the show, he is the skipper of the Skyhawks, Sammy Lopez. And Coach Lopez, first off, congrats on a great regular season, but at this time of the year, I mean, you know, you can't really enjoy a great regular season, I suppose, right? Because you've got some important games in front of you. Is that safe to say?
Definitely safe to say, for sure.
You know, you guys had that.
Thanks for having me on, Pep.
You got it. Listen, it's been way too long. I've been wanting to have you guys on. I know you had I think it was 15 in a row, right? I didn't want to jinx the win streak for Summit, but I wanted to have you on the show.
No, definitely. Yeah. Thank you. We've definitely played some good baseball the last month and a half.
And you also got career win number 200. You don't look old enough to have 200 career wins, but you did it. What do you think that says about what that number says maybe about your career, maybe some of the teams, the schools that you've been at?
Probably that I've been coaching a little bit too long, man. That's all that means. I keep telling everybody that, but no, seriously, it's just, it's just a process of having a really great coaching staff. I've been able to keep a really good coaching staff at the 3 different high schools I've been at. Had some great players along the way that really buy into what we teach and, try to play the style of baseball that we preach. And, I guess that's how you get to that, man. It's just, it's a milestone, but it's just a longer process in focusing what we need to do on a day-by-day basis.
All right, Coach, you talked about your style of baseball. As we look at a picture, there it is, career victory 200. Nice little banner there to celebrate that. But now you have to turn your attention to the CIF playoffs. You talk about your style of baseball. How would you describe the Skyhawks style of baseball? Score a lot of runs, solid defense and pitching. How would you describe the way you want the team to play baseball?
I think what we've been able to do the last month and a half, like you've mentioned, we went on a little bit of a streak, is just be consistent in what we do. We got some good pitching. We can defend the ball well, and we got some hitting. It's just a matter of having all 3 of those kind of show up on a consistent basis. And when we talk about those 15 wins in a row, and I think it was something like 18 or 19 of our last 20 games, that's what started to happen. We started to get better performance on the mound, whether it was starting pitchers or the bullpen, from our offense and defensively, most important. We find that when our defense and our pitching is there, our offense is going to be able to scratch together some runs to help us get that W.
Coach, baseball is a streaky game. Sometimes maybe not the best team is going to make it to the finals. It's the team that's playing the best baseball or the hot team going into the postseason, and they just get on a roll. And they get a couple, 3 or 4 wins in a row, and all of a sudden they're playing for a championship. How do you think your team is playing right now? I know you had the big win streak. I think you split with Kaiser in the final week. I think you got them in the final game of the season. But going into the playoffs, how do you feel about your team right now?
Really good. I feel like I said, I think overall in the last month and the last couple of weeks, we've really been getting what we needed from our pitching staff, from our defense, and from our offense. We had a little bit of a down game against Kaiser on Wednesday, in a big game, in a big moment, but we're able to bounce back and play a really good game on Friday and get back to what we do. So always great to end the season against a good competitive team like Kaiser. That kind of sets us up to play, hopefully a good first round game. So just really like the way we finished out the season going into playoffs, and hopefully keeping that, that good energy, that good consistent performance going.
Coach, I don't know if it was by design, but the way your schedule worked out is pretty nice that you played a really good Kaiser team in the final week of the regular season, almost like as a tune-up to kind of get you guys ready for the teams you might see in Division III, including your first-round game against Redlands East Valley. Those final 2 games against Kaiser, what do you think you guys maybe learned about yourselves to kind of get your focus right and get ready for this playoff run, which begins against a tough Wildcat team?
Kaiser's always tough, and there's a, it's a rivalry game. It's fun rivalry. So it's always dealing with those emotions, playing for a league championship in the last week. So being able to handle that big stage is always a good tune-up going into playoffs. So it's always nice to do that at the last week. Going into playoffs, it doesn't seem as big of a deal to where people get kind of phased by that. So, just like the fact that we're able to play a good competitive game and set us up. The momentum thing is huge, being able to kind of click at the right time there at the end. I've seen teams sneak into the wild card W, and all of a sudden they're in the semifinal, game, and everybody's like, where the heck did these guys come from? So yeah, the momentum thing is big. And I'm hoping we can kind of work that into our first round playoff.
All right, Coach, let's pull the curtain back just a little bit. So the brackets came out on Monday morning, and you played Rev in the first round in D3. What was your message to your team, at practice on Monday, just to kind of, again, get them mentally ready, get them dialed in, get them focused, whatever you want to say? What was kind of the battle cry at practice to go into the playoffs?
Kind of sound like a broken record here, but just the consistency, man. That's we've learned in the last month and a half that if we show up and stay consistent in those things I've mentioned so many times, that we typically are in a good situation where we can win a ball game. You know, if we go out there and defend, pitch to our capabilities and you know, grind out at bats, that we're going to be in a good place towards the end of the ball game. So that's what it was. It's not really worrying so much about our opponent or who it is or who it might be. It's just making sure we focus on what we need to do. And that's really been the battle cry for this last month and a half, where we've been really playing good baseball. Is not so much attention on the opponent. You want to know, you want to have a good idea, but most of our focus has just been on us and making sure that we're taking care of the things we need to take care of.
Mm-hmm. Well, Coach Lopez, I don't know if you know this, but your biggest fan is Nick Matheny, the football coach at Summit. He was wearing me out in text messages saying, hey, it only took 200 wins to get him on your show. We love Coach Lopez. So he's a big fan. I know, you know, the baseball team has been good at Summit, and he's got big expectations for you guys.
Oh, definitely. He lets me hear it every single day, man. He's definitely one of the best parts of working at Summit High School, because he's so entertaining, man. Definitely a pleasure to work with.
Well, Coach Lopez, listen, I really appreciate the time. Congrats on number 200. I know that's a big milestone, but I feel like you've got some big goals still to accomplish this postseason. So it begins with Rev later this week in Division III. So again, Coach Lopez, thank you so much. Really appreciate the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. Thank you.
You got it. That is Coach Sammy Lopez here on the Inland Sports Show, breaking down some CIF Southern Section Division III playoffs. Well, that's going to do for this edition of the Inland Sports Show. A big shout out to our director behind the scenes, Johnny Nunez, here at Teen Vision TV 16, getting it done again. And it was a big show. A big thank you to Coach Lopez, Coach Robinson with Norco softball, Coach Romero and the Murrieta Mesa softball team, and Coach Mateljan and Riverside Poly boys tennis. My name? It's Pep Fernandez. We appreciate you tuning in. God bless you. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you next week on your favorite show, the Inland Sports Show.